Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of English in Fluency. I am your host, Alex, and I am so excited to be here with you today. Thank you so much for tuning in and dedicating this time to your personal growth and your English journey. Today, we are going to talk about a skill that I believe is a true superpower for any language learner. It is something that can save you when you get stuck. It can make you sound more intelligent, and it can help you communicate your ideas even when you forget a specific word. We are talking about the art of paraphrasing. Paraphrasing sounds like a difficult academic word, but it actually means something very simple. It means saying the same idea in a different way. It is the ability to explain what you mean using other words when the exact word you want does not come to your mind. This is a B1 level listening practice session, so I will be speaking clearly and at a moderate pace, making sure that we explore this topic deeply and thoroughly. Before we dive into our stories and examples today, I want to remind you that the goal of fluency is not to know every single word in the English dictionary. The goal is to be able to keep the conversation going, no matter what happens. If you enjoy our sessions and find them helpful, please remember to subscribe to the channel and share this with a friend who is also learning. Your support helps us create more content like this. Now, take a deep breath, relax your shoulders, and let's start learning how to become flexible with our English. Imagine for a moment that you are in a situation where you are talking to a native speaker. You are telling them about a movie you saw last night. You want to say that the movie was hilarious, but suddenly your mind goes blank. You completely forget the word hilarious. You feel that panic rising in your chest. You pause. The other person looks at you, waiting. In the past, you might have just stopped talking or apologized for your bad English. But after today, you will have a different strategy. You will know how to paraphrase. Instead of freezing, you will smile and say that the movie was very, very funny, and it made you laugh a lot. That is paraphrasing. You used a simple description to replace a specific vocabulary word. The meaning is exactly the same, and the conversation continues smoothly. To help us understand this better, we are going to follow the story of a young man named Leo. Leo has just moved to a new city to start a new life. He is looking for a job. He is trying to make new friends, and he is trying to navigate his daily life in English, which is his second language. Leo is a lot like you. He is smart and hardworking, but sometimes he gets nervous when he speaks. Let's join Leo on a Tuesday morning. The sun is shining through the window of his small apartment. Leo is sitting at his kitchen table, and he is feeling a mixture of excitement and anxiety. He has a job interview later today at a marketing company. He really wants this job. He is drinking his coffee and looking at his resume. He knows he has the skills, but he is worried about explaining his past experience in English. He starts to practice out loud, talking to the empty room. He wants to say that he is very punctual, which means he is always on time. But he thinks to himself, what if I get nervous and forget the word punctual during the interview? He decides to practice explaining the idea instead of just relying on that one hard word. He looks at his reflection in the mirror and says, I am the kind of person who never arrives late. I always respect time and make sure to be at the right place at the right moment. Leo smiles. He realizes that this sentence is actually longer than the word punctual, but it is also very clear. He feels safer knowing he has a backup plan. This is the first lesson of paraphrasing. If you cannot remember the fancy adjective, describe the action or the habit. Punctual becomes never late. Diligent becomes hard-working. Arrogant becomes thinking you are better than everyone else. It is about unpacking the word into a sentence. Leo puts on his best suit. It is a dark blue suit that makes him look professional. He walks out the door and heads to the bus stop. While he is waiting for the bus, an elderly woman is standing next to him. She is holding 2 heavy bags of groceries. Leo wants to be polite. He wants to offer his assistance. The word assistance is a good formal word, but in casual conversation, or if you forget it, you can simply use the word help, or you can phrase it as an action. Leo looks at the woman and says, "Let me carry those for you. They look heavy." He did not use the noun assistance. He used the verb phrase, carry those, for you. The woman smiles and thanks him. This is another form of paraphrasing. You can change a noun into a verb. Instead of offering assistance, you offer to help. Instead of making a complaint, you complain. Instead of giving a description, you describe. Being able to switch between nouns and verbs gives you so much freedom. The bus arrives, and Leo helps the woman onto the bus before finding a seat for himself. He puts on his headphones and listens to some calming music to prepare for his interview. When Leo arrives at the office building, he is greeted by the receptionist. Her name is Maya. Maya is friendly and has a bright smile. She asks Leo to wait in the lobby area. The lobby is decorated with modern art and comfortable chairs. Leo sits down and observes the room. He sees a painting on the wall that looks very chaotic. There are colors everywhere and no clear shapes. He thinks the painting is abstract, but if he were talking to Maya and forgot the word abstract, he could say, "That painting does not show real objects, it is just shapes and colors." He practices this in his head. Paraphrasing is also about describing what something is not. If you forget the word clean, you can say it is not dirty. If you forget the word expensive, you can say it costs a lot of money or it is not cheap. This strategy of using negatives is very powerful. It doubles your vocabulary instantly because every word you know can be used to describe its opposite by adding a negative. Finally, a man comes out to greet Leo. This is Mr. Henderson, the manager. Mr. Henderson looks serious but kind. He shakes Leo's hand and invites him into his office. The interview begins. Mr. Henderson asks Leo about his greatest weakness. This is a classic interview question, and it can be very tricky. Leo wants to say that he is sometimes a perfectionist, meaning he wants everything to be flawless. But the word perfectionist feels stuck in his throat. He takes a breath and remembers his training. He paraphrases. He looks at Mr. Henderson and says, "Sometimes I spend too much time on a project because I want to make sure there are absolutely no mistakes and that every detail is correct." Mr. Henderson nods his head. He understands completely. Leo did not use the specific label perfectionist, but he described the behavior perfectly. This is actually often better in an interview because it shows you can communicate complex ideas naturally. The interview continues, and Mr. Henderson asks Leo why he left his last job. Leo wants to say the environment was toxic. Toxic is a strong B2 or C1 level word. If Leo forgets it, he needs a B1 alternative. He thinks quickly. He says, "The atmosphere at my previous company was very negative, and people did not support each other. which made it difficult to work happily. This is a beautiful paraphrase. He broke down the concept of toxic into its components: negative atmosphere and lack of support. Mr. Henderson seems impressed by Leo's honesty and clarity. Then, Mr. Henderson asks a technical question about marketing strategies. Leo knows the answer, but he wants to make sure he is very clear. He uses a phrase that is essential for paraphrasing. That phrase is, in other words. He gives an explanation, and then he says, in other words, we need to focus on what the customer really needs, not just what we want to sell. Using linking phrases like, in other words, or what I mean is, or to put it simply, signals to the listener that you are about to rephrase your idea. It buys you time to think, and it clarifies your message. After the interview, Leo walks out of the building feeling relieved. He feels a great weight lifted off his shoulders. He is hungry, so he decides to find a place to eat lunch. He walks down the busy street, looking at the menus in the windows of different restaurants. He sees a place that serves authentic Italian cuisine. He wants to ask the waiter if the pasta is homemade. He walks inside. The restaurant smells delicious, like tomatoes and garlic and fresh bread. A waiter approaches him. Leo asks, "Excuse me, is the pasta made here in the restaurant?" He could have said homemade, but saying made here in the restaurant is a perfect paraphrase. It is simple, direct, and impossible to misunderstand. The waiter smiles and says yes, fresh every morning. Leo orders a plate of spaghetti and sits by the window. He watches the people walking by outside. He sees a man running very fast, looking at his watch. Leo thinks he is in a rush. Or, to paraphrase, he is in a hurry. Or he does not have much time. Being able to observe the world and describe it in multiple ways is a great game you can play by yourself. When you are on the bus or walking, look at something and try to describe it in 3 different ways. For example, look at a tall building. You can say, that building is tall. You can say, that building is huge. You can say, that building has many floors and goes high into the sky. This mental exercise trains your brain to be flexible. While Leo is eating his pasta, his phone rings. It is his friend, Tara. Tara is also learning English, but she is at a slightly lower level than Leo. She calls him because she is frustrated. She tells Leo that she tried to buy a train ticket, but she didn't understand what the ticket seller was saying. She says the man spoke too rapidly. Leo asks her, "Do you mean he spoke too fast?" Tara says yes, exactly. Leo explains to her that rapidly and fast mean the same thing. He tells her, "Next time, if you don't understand, just ask him to paraphrase. You can say to people, 'Could you say that in a different way?' Or could you use simpler words?" This is a request for paraphrasing. It is a valid and useful tool for a learner. You have the right to ask people to adjust their language for you. Leo finishes his lunch and feels energized. He decides to go to the park to read a book. The park is a green oasis in the middle of the city. There are large trees providing shade and children playing on the grass. Leo finds a quiet bench and sits down. He opens his book, but he finds it hard to concentrate because 2 people on the bench next to him are having a very loud argument. They are shouting. Leo wants to ask them to be quiet. He could say, "Please be quiet." Or he could be more polite and paraphrase his request. He could say, "Could you please lower your voices? Or would you mind speaking a bit softer?" Paraphrasing allows you to adjust the tone of your message. Sometimes you want to be direct, and sometimes you want to be soft and polite. Knowing different ways to ask for the same thing gives you social power. The couple sees Leo looking at them and they realize they are being disturbing. They apologize and stop shouting. Leo smiles and returns to his book. He is reading a novel about a detective. In the book, the detective is described as very wealthy. Leo pauses. Wealthy. What are other ways to say this? Rich. Having a lot of money. Well off. Loaded. Leo realizes that English is full of synonyms. Synonyms are words that have the same or very similar meanings. Learning synonyms is the foundation of paraphrasing. If you learn the word happy, also learn glad, joyful, and pleased. If you learn the word sad, also learn unhappy, down, and upset. Building these clusters of words in your brain helps you when you speak. Let's go back to the concept of simple explanations. Sometimes we get stuck because we try to translate an idiom from our native language directly into English. This usually does not work. For example, in some languages, there might be an idiom that means you are working very hard on something pointless. If you try to translate the words exactly, it will sound strange in English. Instead, drop the idiom and describe the meaning. You can say, I am wasting my time, or I am doing a lot of work for no result. Focus on the meaning, not the words. This is the golden rule of paraphrasing. Meaning comes first, words come second. If you communicate the meaning, you have succeeded. Leo closes his book as the sun starts to set. The sky is turning beautiful shades of orange and purple. He decides to walk home. On his way, he passes a store that sells electronics. He needs a new charger for his phone because his old one is broken. He walks in. He does not know the specific model number or the technical name of the cable. He approaches the sales clerk. He takes his phone out of his pocket and shows it to the clerk. He says, I need the cable that connects this phone to the wall plug to give it power. He did not use the word charger. He described the function of the object. The clerk understands immediately and hands him the correct box. This is called circumlocution. It means talking around the word. You describe what the object does, what it looks like, or what it is used for. It is a brilliant strategy for B1 learners. You can say, the thing you use to cut paper for scissors. You can say, the machine that keeps food cold for refrigerator. You can say, the place where you borrow books for library. Never be afraid to use 10 words to explain one word. It is not a failure. It is communication. Leo arrives back at his apartment. He is tired, but he feels proud of himself. He navigated a job interview, a restaurant, a social situation in the park, and a store, all by using his English skills and his ability to paraphrase. He sits on his sofa and thinks about the interview again. He remembers one moment where he almost got stuck. Mr. Henderson had asked him if he was flexible with his schedule. Leo wanted to say that he doesn't have a family yet, so he is free. But he felt that saying, I don't have a family, might sound too personal. So he paraphrased. He said, my schedule is very open, and I can adapt to different working hours easily. This sounded professional and clear. Leo realizes that paraphrasing is not just for when you forget words, but also for when you want to change the style of what you are saying to fit the situation. He decides to call his mother to tell her about the day. His mother does not speak English, so he speaks to her in his native language. But as he tells the story, he realizes he is translating the concepts in his head. He tells her about the interview. He tells her he feels optimistic. In English, he would paraphrase optimistic as feeling good about the future or expecting a positive result. He realizes that this skill of defining words is making him smarter in both languages. Now, I want you, listening to this, to try a little exercise with me. I am going to give you a complex sentence, and I want you to think of a simpler way to say it. Are you ready? Here is the sentence. The automobile is currently out of fuel. How can we say this simply? Imagine you are talking to a friend. You wouldn't say automobile. You would say car. You wouldn't say out of fuel usually. You might say the car has no gas. Or the car is empty. Or we need to get gas for the car. Do you see how much simpler that is? Let's try another one. The sentence is, I require a beverage to quench my thirst. That sounds very dramatic and old-fashioned. How would you paraphrase that? You could simply say, I am thirsty, or I need a drink, or can I have some water? This is the key to fluency. Simple is often better. Simple is clear. Simple connects you with other people. You do not need to sound like a textbook from the 19th century. You need to sound like a human being living in the modern world. As the evening goes on, Leo decides to make some dinner. He opens his fridge and sees some vegetables and chicken. He decides to make a stir-fry. While he is cooking, he listens to a podcast, just like you are doing now. The podcast host is talking about the economy. The host uses the word inflation. Leo pauses the podcast. How would he explain inflation to a child? He thinks. He would say, it means that things are getting more expensive every year, or money buys less than it used to. This practice of simplifying complex news topics is very good for your brain. If you can explain a hard concept in simple language, it means you truly understand it. If you can only repeat the big word but cannot explain it, then you don't really own that word yet. Leo finishes cooking and sits down to eat. The food is delicious. He wants to post a picture of it on social media. He types a caption. First, he writes, "The culinary experience was exquisite." He shakes his head and deletes it. That doesn't sound like him. He paraphrases. He writes, "Cooked a great dinner tonight. Tastes amazing." This feels more natural. It is important to find your own voice in English. Your voice is likely simpler and more direct than the difficult texts you read in school. Let's think about another scenario. Imagine you are at a doctor's office. You have a pain in your stomach. The doctor asks you to describe the pain. You want to say it is intermittent, meaning it comes and goes. But you forget the word intermittent. What do? You paraphrase. You say, the pain is not there all the time. It starts, then it stops, then it starts again. The doctor understands you perfectly. Or imagine you want to say, the pain is excruciating, which means very, very painful. You can just say, it hurts a lot, or the pain is very strong, or on a scale of 1 to 10, it is a 10. You do not need the medical terminology to get medical help. You just need to be able to describe your reality. This applies to emotions too. If you are feeling overwhelmed but you can't find that word, you can say, I have too many things to do and I feel stressed. If you are feeling nostalgic, you can say, I am thinking about the past and missing good memories. Every complex emotion has a simple description. You just need to be patient with yourself and allow your brain to find the path. Leo finishes his dinner and washes the dishes. He feels tired but happy. He has survived his first real day of challenges in the new city. He realizes that his fear of forgetting words is slowly disappearing. He knows that he has a safety net. That safety net is his ability to explain, to describe, and to simplify. He knows that he will never be silenced by a missing vocabulary word again. He walks to the window and looks out at the city lights. Millions of people are out there, talking, communicating, sharing ideas. He feels like he is part of that world now. He turns off the lights and gets ready for bed. He knows that tomorrow will bring new challenges, but he is ready to face them. He is ready to speak, to listen, and to paraphrase. The next morning, Leo wakes up to a strange sound. Drip, drip, drip. He opens his eyes and looks at the ceiling. It looks dry. He sits up and listens carefully. The sound is coming from the kitchen. He walks into the kitchen, rubbing the sleep from his eyes, and he sees a puddle of water on the floor near the sink. He sighs. This is a problem. He looks under the sink and sees that water is slowly escaping from a metal tube. He knows the word pipe in his own language, and he thinks the English word is similar, but he is not 100% sure. He also does not know the word for leak. He knows he has to call his landlord, the man who owns the apartment. His landlord's name is Mr. Rossi. Mr. Rossi is a nice man, but he speaks very fast. Leo feels a little nervous. He picks up his phone and dials the number. He practices what he is going to say. He cannot say, "Mr. Rossi, the pipe is leaking," because he is unsure of those words. So, he plans his paraphrase. He will describe the situation using simple verbs and nouns. Mr. Rossi answers the phone with a loud, cheerful hello. Leo takes a deep breath and speaks. He says, "Hello, Mr. Rossi. This is Leo. I have a small problem in the kitchen. There is water coming out from under the sink. It is falling on the floor. It is not a lot of water, but it is constant." Notice what Leo did there. He did not use the word leak. He said water is coming out. He did not use the word pipe. He said from under the sink. This is perfectly clear. Mr. Rossi understands immediately. He asks Leo if it is an emergency. Leo understands the word emergency. But if he didn't, he could ask, "Do you mean, is it dangerous? Or do you mean, does it need to be fixed right now?" Leo replies, "It is not dangerous, but I cannot stop the water." Mr. Rossi says he will send a repairman. He uses the word plumber. Leo recognizes the word, but imagine if he didn't. If Leo wanted to ask about the plumber later, he could say, "When will the man who fixes the water come?" Paraphrasing is often about describing the person's job instead of their title. A dentist is the doctor for teeth. A mechanic is the person who fixes cars. A pilot is the person who flies planes. You can always describe the function if you forget the title. While Leo waits for the repairman, he decides to study a little bit. He opens his laptop and looks at some news articles. He reads a headline about a politician who is very charismatic. Charismatic is a beautiful, advanced word. It means having a personality that attracts people. Leo writes this word down in his notebook. Then, he challenges himself to paraphrase it. How would he explain this to a friend? He writes next to it, "A person who everyone likes and listens to," or "a person with a strong and attractive character." This is a great study habit. Don't just translate new words into your native language. Translate them into simple English. This builds a bridge in your brain between the complex word and the simple definition. It makes your English thinking much faster. Suddenly, his phone rings again. It is a number he does not recognize. His heart beats a little faster. Could it be the job? He answers the phone. It is Mr. Henderson from the marketing company. Mr. Henderson sounds happy. He tells Leo that they were very impressed with his interview and they would like to offer him the position. Leo feels a wave of joy wash over him. He wants to say, I am ecstatic. Ecstatic means extremely happy. But in the excitement of the moment, the word disappears. He relies on his training. He paraphrases his emotion. He says, Thank you so much, Mr. Henderson. I am very, very happy to hear this news. It is great news for me. Simple words, but the emotion is clear. Mr. Henderson then starts talking about the details of the job. He mentions the salary, which is the money Leo will earn. He also mentions the benefits package. Leo wants to clarify what is included in the benefits, but he doesn't want to sound greedy or confused. He wants to ask about health insurance. He asks, Does this include help with medical costs? Mr. Henderson says yes. Leo wants to ask about vacation days. He asks, And how many days off do I get each year? This is a perfect example of simplifying business language. Instead of asking about the annual leave entitlement, which is very formal, he asks about days off. It is casual, natural, and clear. After the call ends, Leo dances around his living room. He has a job. He wants to celebrate. He decides to meet up with a new friend he made recently. Her name is Sophia. Sophia is from the same country as Leo, but she has lived in this city for 10 years. Her English is very advanced, almost like a native speaker. She is a safe person for Leo to practice with because she understands his struggles. He sends her a text message. He writes, I got the job. Let's meet for coffee? Sophia replies immediately with a lot of clapping hand emojis. They agree to meet at a cafe called the Roasted Bean in an hour. Leo gets dressed. He puts on a comfortable sweater because the weather is getting chilly. Chilly is another word for a little bit cold. If you forget chilly, you can say, It is not freezing, but I need a jacket. He walks to the cafe. The city looks different to him now. It looks friendlier. He feels like he belongs here. When he arrives at the cafe, he sees Sophia sitting at a small round table. She is drinking a cappuccino and reading a magazine. Leo walks over, and she stands up to give him a hug. They sit down, and Leo tells her all about the phone call. He speaks in English because they made a pact, a promise, to help Leo improve. Leo tells her about the word benefits. Sophia laughs and says, Yes, corporate language can be tricky. She suggests they play a game. She says, I will say a hard word, and you have to explain it to me as if I were a 5-year-old child. This is an excellent game for you to play with a study partner or even by yourself. Sophia starts. She looks around the cafe and points to a large, fancy machine making coffee. She says, espresso machine, Leo thinks. He says, the machine that makes strong coffee quickly with hot water. Sophia nods. Good, she says. Next word, umbrella. Leo laughs. That is easy, he says. The thing you hold over your head to keep the rain off you. Sophia smiles. Okay, harder one, she says. Procrastinate. This is a verb that means to delay doing something because you don't want to do it. Leo knows this feeling well. He says, it means waiting to do your work until the very last minute because you are lazy or scared. Sophia claps. Perfect explanation, she says. This game highlights a very useful word for paraphrasing, the word thing. Sometimes we think the word thing is too basic or lazy. But when you are stuck, it is a lifesaver. You can say, the thing for cooking, the thing for cleaning, the thing for writing. You can combine thing with a verb or a preposition to describe almost any object in the universe. Of course, as you get better, You can use more specific words like tool, device, instrument, or object. But to start, thing is your best friend. They order some pastries to go with their coffee. Leo points to a croissant filled with chocolate. He forgets the word filling. He says, "I would like the one with chocolate inside." The barista understands perfectly. While they eat, Sophia asks Leo about his new job duties. Leo explains that he will be working on social media campaigns. He wants to say that the job involves a lot of brainstorming. Brainstorming is when a group of people think of many ideas quickly. He says, "We will have meetings where we all throw out many ideas to see which one is the best." Sophia says, "That sounds exciting." Then she asks him about his colleagues. Leo says he met the manager, but not the other team members. He says, "I hope they are." And he pauses. He wants to say cooperative. He finishes the sentence, "I hope they like working together and helping each other." Sophia nods and says, "Yes, teamwork is important." As they talk, a dog walks into the cafe with its owner. It is a very large dog with long hair. Leo thinks it looks like a bear. He tells Sophia, "Look at that dog. It is massive." Sophia asks, "What does massive mean?" She is testing him. Leo says, "It means very, very big, giant, huge." This reinforces the idea of synonyms. Then Leo notices the dog has a very fluffy tail. He doesn't remember the word fluffy. He says, "Its tail looks very soft, like a cloud or a pillow." Comparing things to other things is another paraphrasing technique. This is called using a simile. You use the word like. It smells like flowers. It tastes like chicken. It sounds like thunder. It looks like a cloud. Comparisons help paint a picture in the listener's mind. After coffee, Sophia and Leo decide to go for a walk in the city center. They walk past a museum. Sophia asks Leo if he likes history. Leo says yes, but he prefers modern history. He wants to explain that he finds ancient history a bit boring because it feels too disconnected from today. He struggles to find the word disconnected. He tries to paraphrase. He says, "I like history that is close to our time. The very old history, from thousands of years ago, sometimes feels far away from my life." It is hard to feel the connection. Sophia understands. She says, "I agree. Sometimes it is hard to relate to people who lived so long ago." Relate to is a great phrasal verb. It means to understand and feel a connection with someone. If you forget relate to, you can say, "Understand their feelings," or "Feel like I am in their shoes." They continue walking and see a street performer. He is juggling balls in the air. Juggling is a specific verb. Leo points and says, "Look at that man." He is throwing many balls in the air and catching them without dropping any. This is a long sentence, but it accurately describes the action of juggling. The performer is also wearing a very colorful costume. It has red, yellow, blue, and green patches. Leo describes it as, "His clothes have many different colors mixed together. It looks like a rainbow." Sophia smiles at the description. She tells Leo, "You are getting very good at this. You don't stop speaking when you don't know a word. You just find a way around it. That is the secret to fluency." Fluency is not about being perfect. It is about being continuous. It is about keeping the flow of the river moving, even if there are rocks in the way. They stop at a crosswalk waiting for the light to turn green. The traffic is very heavy. There are cars honking and engines roaring. Leo says, "It is very noisy here." He could also say, "It is not quiet," or "There is too much sound." Remember the negative technique we discussed earlier? Using not plus the opposite adjective. If something is not easy, it is difficult. If something is not safe, it is dangerous. If something is not interesting, it is boring. This simple switch can save you in many conversations. Suddenly, a car drives by very fast and splashes water from a puddle onto the sidewalk. Leo jumps back just in time. He says, "That was close." He wants to say the driver was reckless. Reckless means not caring about safety. Leo says, "That driver was not careful at all. He was driving dangerously." He effectively communicated his judgment of the driver without needing the C1 level word reckless. Leo and Sophia arrive at a park bench and sit down to rest. Sophia asks Leo if he is nervous about his first day of work. Leo admits that he is. He says, "I am afraid I will make a mistake." Sophia asks, "What kind of mistake?" Leo says, "Maybe I will not understand an instruction." Sophia gives him some advice. She says, "If you don't understand, just ask for clarification. You can say, 'Sorry, could you explain that again?' Or 'I want to make sure I understand. Do you mean?'" These are phrases every learner should memorize. They are your toolkit for survival. Then Sophia asks Leo about his long-term goals. She asks, "Where do you see yourself in 5 years?" This is a deep question, Leo thinks. He wants to say he wants to be a manager. He says, "In 5 years, I want to lead a team. I want to be the person responsible for projects." Describing the responsibility is often clearer than just using a job title. A manager manages, a leader leads, a creator creates. Focus on the action verbs. The sun begins to go down, cast in long shadows across the park. Leo realizes he needs to go home to prepare for his first day. He needs to iron his shirt and pack his bag. He thanks Sophia for the coffee and the practice. He says, "You really helped me today. I feel more ready." Sophia says, "You will do great. Just remember, be yourself and use your simple words." People appreciate clarity more than fancy vocabulary. They say goodbye, and Leo walks back to the bus stop. On the bus, he listens to the conversations around him. He hears 2 teenagers talking about a video game. One of them says the game is glitchy. Leo doesn't know glitchy. But the boy continues. He says, "Yeah, the screen freezes a lot, and sometimes the character gets stuck." Leo smiles. The context explained the word. Glitchy means having technical errors. This is how native speakers speak too. They often use a slang word and then explain it immediately. You can learn so much just by listening actively. When Leo gets back to his apartment, the repairman has already been there. Mr. Rossi had let him in. There is a note on the table. It says, "Fixed the leak. No charge." Leo breathes a sigh of relief. No charge means he does not have to pay money. It is free. He goes to the kitchen. The floor is dry. The water is gone. He feels grateful. He makes himself a simple dinner of a sandwich and a salad. As he eats, he thinks about the strategy of generalization again. He thinks about words like place, person, and time. If he forgets the word library, he can say, "the place with books." If he forgets the word chef, he can say, "the person who cooks in a restaurant." If he forgets the word winter, he can say, "the time when it is cold and snows." These 3 words, place, person, time, are the anchors of paraphrasing. You can describe almost anything by starting with one of them. Leo finishes his dinner and lays out his clothes for tomorrow. He chooses a white shirt and black trousers. He wants to look sharp. Sharp in this context doesn't mean capable of cutting like a knife. It means looking neat, stylish, and professional. This is an example of a word having multiple meanings. If Leo didn't know the word sharp for clothes, he could say, I want to look professional, or I want to dress well. He checks his bag. He has his notebook, a pen, his laptop, and a bottle of water. He is prepared. He stands in front of the mirror one last time. He looks at himself and gives himself a pep talk. A pep talk is a short speech to encourage someone. He says to the mirror, "You can do this. You have the skills. You have the English. And if you don't have the word, you have the paraphrase." He turns off the lights and gets into bed. He sets his alarm for 7 a.m. He closes his eyes and imagines walking into the office. He imagines smiling at his new colleagues. He imagines sitting at his desk. He feels a mixture of nerves and excitement. He knows that tomorrow will be a test, but he also knows he has studied for it. As he drifts off to sleep, he thinks about the English language. It used to feel like a giant wall that he had to climb. Now, it feels more like a vast ocean that he is learning to swim in. Sometimes the waves are big, but he knows how to float. He knows how to keep his head above water. The alarm clock rings at 7 a.m. sharp. Leo wakes up instantly. Today is the day. He feels a flutter in his stomach. It feels like butterflies are flying inside him. He wants to tell himself that he is anxious, but he decides to reframe it. He looks in the mirror and says, I am full of energy. I am ready to start. He puts on his white shirt and black trousers. He looks professional. He drinks a glass of water and heads out into the cool morning air. The city is waking up. Cars are moving, people are walking fast, and the world feels busy. Leo gets on the bus. He closes his eyes and visualizes the office. He practices his introduction. Hello, my name is Leo. I am the new marketing assistant. He realizes that the word assistant might be hard to say if he is nervous. So he prepares a paraphrase. I am here to help the marketing team. Or, I work with the marketing manager. Having a plan B for your introduction reduces stress significantly. Leo arrives at the glass doors of the company building. He takes a deep breath and pushes the door open. The receptionist, Maya, waves at him. He walks to the elevator and goes up to the 5th floor. The doors open and he steps into the office. It is an open-plan office. This means there are no walls between the desks. Everyone can see everyone. Leo forgets the term open plan. If he had to describe it to his mother later, he would say, it is a big room where everyone sits together, without separate rooms. He is greeted by Mr. Henderson, who smiles warmly. Mr. Henderson takes Leo to his desk. It is a nice desk near a window. Mr. Henderson introduces Leo to a woman sitting next to him. Her name is Sarah. Sarah is very energetic. She speaks quickly and uses a lot of slang. She says, Hey Leo, glad to have you on board. We're swamped today, so jump right in. Leo pauses. Swamped. He doesn't know this word, but he looks at Sarah's desk. It is covered in papers. She looks busy. He guesses the meaning. Swamped must mean very busy. He paraphrases to check. He asks, Do you mean you have a lot of work to do today? Sarah laughs and says, Yes, exactly. Tons of work. Leo smiles. He successfully navigated his first slang word. This is the power of context clues. You look at the situation, you guess the meaning, and you paraphrase to confirm. Later in the morning, the whole team gathers for a meeting. They sit around a large oval table. Mr. Henderson starts the meeting. He says they need to brainstorm ideas for a new campaign to sell energy drinks. Leo listens carefully. He has an idea. He wants to suggest that they should target university students who study late at night. He raises his hand. Mr. Henderson nods at him. Leo starts to speak. I think we should focus on... And then his mind goes blank. He forgets the word students or university. It seems impossible to forget such simple words, but nervousness does strange things to the brain. He doesn't panic. He describes the people. He says, I think we should focus on the young people who go to school and have to study until very late. They need energy to stay awake. Mr. Henderson nods enthusiastically. Yes, students. That is a great demographic. Leo breathes a sigh of relief. He didn't need the exact label. He described the activity, studying late, and the need, staying awake. The meaning was perfectly clear. The meeting continues. A colleague named Mark suggests they use influencers to promote the drink. Leo knows the word influencer, but he wants to add to the point. He wants to say that influencers are credible. Credible means people trust them. But credible is a hard word. Leo paraphrases. He says, yes, I agree. When these popular people on the internet drink our product, their followers will believe it is good. They trust them. He replaced credible with believe it is good and trust. This is actually more powerful than using the business word because it is emotional. It connects with the core human feeling of trust. Sometimes, simple language is more persuasive than complex language because it is more honest. At 12:30, Sarah asks Leo if he wants to grab lunch. To grab lunch is a casual phrase, meaning to go get lunch quickly. Leo says yes. They go to a sandwich shop nearby. Leo looks at the menu. He sees a sandwich with turkey, cheese, and cranberry sauce. He has never had cranberry sauce. He asks Sarah, what is this red sauce? Is it spicy? Sarah says, no, it's sweet and tart. Leo doesn't know tart. He asks, what does tart mean? Sarah thinks. She paraphrases. She says, it is like a lemon. It makes your mouth feel a little sharp. It is the opposite of sweet. Leo nods. Ah, sour. Sarah says, yes, sour is a good word for it. Leo orders the sandwich. When they sit down, he realizes he forgot to get a napkin. He stands up and goes to the counter. He forgets the word napkin. He points to the dispenser and says, may I have some paper for my hands? The worker hands him a stack of napkins. Again, function over name. Describing what the object does, paper for hands, is always a winning strategy. While they are eating, Sarah asks Leo about his hobbies. Leo wants to say he likes photography, especially landscapes. He says, I like taking pictures of nature. Mountains, rivers, trees. Not people, just the land. Sarah understands immediately. Then she asks him if he likes sports. Leo wants to say he is not very athletic. He says, I am not very good at sports. I prefer to watch them. Then he tries to make a joke. He wants to say, I am a couch potato. This is an idiom meaning someone who sits on the sofa and watches TV. But he says, I am a potato on the sofa. Sarah looks confused for a second, then bursts out laughing. She says, you mean a couch potato? Leo laughs too. He says, yes, that is it. I sit like a potato. This is an important moment. Leo made a mistake with an idiom, but he didn't freeze. He laughed. He explained his meaning. Humor is a great connector. If you make a mistake, laugh at yourself. It shows confidence. It shows that you are human. Don't take yourself too seriously. Back at the office, Mr. Henderson gives Leo a task. He asks Leo to write a short email to a client confirming a meeting time. Leo sits at his computer. Writing is different from speaking because you have more time to think, but you also have to be more accurate. Leo writes, Dear Mr. Jones, we are happy to see you on Tuesday. He thinks happy is too casual. He wants a more formal word. He thinks of synonyms: glad, pleased, delighted. He chooses pleased. We are pleased to see you. Then he wants to say, let us know if the time works. He thinks works is too informal. He paraphrases, please inform us if this time is convenient for you. Convenient means easy or suitable. Leo uses an online dictionary to check the spelling of convenient. This is a smart tool. Use your resources. But notice how he started with the simple thought, works, and then upgraded it to the formal thought, convenient. Paraphrasing works both ways. You can simplify complex ideas, or you can elevate simple ideas to make them sound more professional. Around 3 p.m., there is a technical problem. The internet stops working. Everyone in the office groans. Mark says, the Wi-Fi is down. Leo wants to offer a solution. He knows how to create a hotspot with his phone. He stands up and says, I can use my phone to give internet to the computers. I can share my signal. He didn't use the technical term hotspot immediately. He explained the process. Sarah says, oh, a hotspot. That would be a lifesaver. Leo smiles. He is helping the team. He feels valuable. Language is not just about words. It is about solving problems. If you can use your English to solve a problem, nobody cares if your grammar is perfect. They only care that you helped. The day starts to wind down. At 5 p.m., people start packing their bags. Mr. Henderson comes to Leo's desk. He says, good job today, Leo. You really hit the ground running. Leo is confused. Hit the ground running? Did he fall? He asks, sorry, I don't understand the last part. Hit the ground? Mr. Henderson smiles and explains. It is an idiom. It means you started working very fast and very well, right from the beginning. You didn't wait. Leo says, thank you. I tried my best to be active immediately. Leo paraphrased the idiom back to Mr. Henderson to confirm he understood. This is called mirroring. It solidifies the new knowledge in your brain. Leo walks out of the building. The sun is setting, painting the sky in orange and pink. He feels tired, but it is a good tired. It is the tiredness of satisfaction. He walks to the bus stop. He reflects on the day. He realizes that he spoke English for 8 hours. He had meetings, he had lunch, he wrote emails, he solved a tech problem. And yes, he forgot words. He forgot students, napkin, and tart. He messed up an idiom. But did the communication stop? No. Did people understand him? Yes. Did he get the job done? Absolutely. This is the victory. The victory is not in the perfection of the vocabulary. The victory is in the success of the connection. As Leo sits on the bus, he takes out his notebook. He writes down the new words he learned today: swamped, tart, couch potato, hit the ground running. But he also writes down the paraphrases he used. Next to swamped, he writes very busy. Next to tart, he writes sour like a lemon. He is building his own personal dictionary. This is something I highly recommend you do. Keep a small notebook or a note on your phone. When you learn a hard word, write a simple definition next to it. This trains your brain to access the simple path whenever the hard path is blocked. Now, let's zoom out from Leo's story and look at the big picture. Over our time together today, we have built a comprehensive system for fluency. Let's review the tools in your toolkit. First, we have synonyms. This is your first line of defense. If you forget big, say large. If you forget beautiful, say pretty. Always learn words in pairs or groups. Second, we have antonyms and negatives. If you forget safe, say not dangerous. If you forget cheap, say not expensive. This effectively doubles your vocabulary. Third, we have descriptions and definitions. This is the dictionary mode. If you forget the word, explain what it means. Describing the function, the thing you use to cut, the appearance, it is red and round, or the person, the man who flies the plane. Fourth, we have generalization, using words like thing, stuff, place, person, and time. I left my stuff at the place is better than silence, even if it is vague. Fifth, we have circumlocution, or talking around the word. This involves telling a mini-story to explain a concept, like Leo explaining studying late instead of students. Sixth, we have comparison, or similes, using it is like or it reminds me of. This creates a bridge between what you know and what you want to say. And finally, we have checking and clarifying. Asking, do you mean? Or, in other words, to ensure you and your listener are on the same page. These 7 tools are what make you fluent. Fluency is not a destination where you know everything. Fluency is a process where you can handle anything. It is the ability to navigate the unknown with the tools you have. You are like a carpenter. Maybe you don't have a hammer, but you have a heavy wrench. You can still drive the nail in. It might look different, but the result is the same. The house gets built. I want you to imagine yourself in Leo's shoes. Imagine you are in a situation where you feel stuck. Maybe it is at work. Maybe it is traveling. Maybe it is talking to a stranger online. Feel that moment of panic when the word is gone. Now, take a deep breath. Remember Leo. Remember the tools. Shift your brain from searching for the word to describing the idea. Pivot. Change direction. Find another way. As soon as you make that shift, the panic will disappear, and the words will flow. You will feel a sense of power. You are no longer a slave to the dictionary. You are the master of your expression. To practice this in the coming days, I have a challenge for you. Look around your room right now. Pick 3 random objects. For each object, try to describe it without using its name. If you see a lamp, don't say lamp. Say, the object that gives light when it is dark. If you see a chair, say, the furniture with 4 legs that I sit on. If you see a phone, say, the device I use to talk to people far away. Do this every day for 5 minutes. It feels silly at first, but it is like doing push-ups for your language muscles. It makes your brain fast and flexible. When you are in a real conversation, this skill will kick in automatically. Another great practice is to take a simple sentence and try to say it in 3 different ways. Take the sentence, I am tired. Way 1, I have no energy. Way 2, I need to sleep. Way 3, my body feels heavy. This exercise, called sentence transformation, is used by the best language learners in the world. It breaks the rigidity of your thinking. It teaches you that there is never just one right answer. There are always many paths to the same destination. As we conclude this session, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for spending this time with me. Learning a language is a long journey. It requires patience, courage, and resilience. But you are doing it. The fact that you are listening to this, understanding these stories, and thinking about these concepts proves that you are growing. You are already an English speaker. You don't need to wait for some magical future date to claim that title. You are speaking, listening, and understanding right now. Leo's story is just beginning, and so is yours. He will have more challenges, and so will you. He will make more mistakes, and so will you. But now, you both know that a mistake is not a wall. It is just a bump in the road. You simply paraphrase over it and keep going. If you found this video helpful, please consider subscribing to the channel English in Fluency. It helps us grow and allows us to create more content like this for you. Leave a comment below and tell me, which paraphrasing tool do you like the most? Is it synonyms? Is it descriptions? Is it using "it is like"? I love reading your comments and hearing about your progress. Share this video with a friend who is also learning. Maybe you can practice the definition game together, like Leo and Sophia. Remember, the goal is connection, not perfection. Speak with your heart, use the words you have, and never be afraid to say the same thing in a different way. You have the power to communicate anything you can imagine. Trust yourself. Trust your English. This has been Alex, and it has been an honor to guide you through this practice. Keep listening, keep speaking, and keep flowing. Until next time, take care of yourself and happy learning. Goodbye for now.